Lesson 6. The Savour of Hospitality. Hospitality is an often overlooked characteristic of Christianity. The main reason for this is because since the 4th century, the gatherings of believers has been in buildings we call churches. Before the year 314 AD, Christians all throughout the Roman Empire were persecuted. Multitudes were killed and even sent to different colosseums throughout the empire to be sacrificed in games for the entertainment of the public. During this time, there were 0 church buildings. It would have been too obvious of a target for many of the Roman persecutors. Because of this, we know for certainty that the gospel was primarily preached in homes. It was in homes that the church gathered. It was in homes that it multiplied. It was in homes that the power of God moved for over 300 years. When Emperor Constantine in the year 312 AD turned to Christianity and so decreed that Christianity would be the universal, which is the origin of Catholic, church, in so doing, he decreed that all the pagan temples across the empire would be turned into churches. From that time, the church began to meet in big buildings, which at that time were called temples, later cathedrals, and now modern-day churches. Because the meeting places transitioned from homes to temples, the revelation of hospitality has been lost, and the power of this principle swept under a rug. However, the Hub believes that the last days church will resemble the one found in the book of Acts, all the while using the technological tools we have to spread the gospel as efficiently and effectively as possible. Enough with church history. If we're going to walk as the early day saints, we must return to home meetings and once again uncover the revelation of hospitality. Number 1, it involves intimacy. Because it happens in the home, it allows for individuals to open up and reveal personal things about their heart. This is very common in our hub houses and creates deep bonds between the believers getting together. Number 2, it involves support. When intimacy is created, it's common as we express ourselves that the things we share are difficulties we face, trials we're going through, or problems we're dealing with. This means that when true hospitality is set, it gives occasion for people to be a support one toward another. The home setting creates a sense of family a building will never generate. This sense of family is what allows you to be a support to people. Number 3, it involves sharing. When someone in the 1st century church shared a meal or took someone into their home, they weren't just offering a helping hand. They were sharing their very lives with them. Alright, now that you have a clearer understanding of hospitality, how can we make a standard hub house experience one in which hospitality is at its core? Number 1, remember names and stories. They had a show back in the 1990s called Cheers. It was about a bar that a group of friends would always choose to hang out in. They would start the show with this song which says, "Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You want to be where everyone knows your name." This was true back then, and it's still true today. Make it a point to know everyone's name. Number 2, set a small table and make it special. The idea here isn't to spend lots of money on food, but rather to offer your guests something special. I remember when I was in Bible school, we heard the testimony of this lady who wanted to bring her neighbors to Christ. She was no preacher, she wasn't educated at all, and she was pretty shy. What she did know is how to bake great cakes and muffins. She decided she would bake these cakes and muffins for her neighbors. At first, they were shy to even receive them from this little old lady, but later they grew to know her and loved her. And before she died, every single neighbor on her street had given their heart to Christ. They were profoundly impacted by her love, and she ended up knowing all their stories and ministering Christ to every single one of them. Number 3, receive with joy. We live in a time where people are shy to go to someone's home. They feel they're bothering them. Our digital age is breaking down human contact and being with one another. For this reason, it's imperative to receive people in our homes with joy. A smile goes a long way in making someone feel welcome. Number 4, no Clubhouse favorites. We have a tendency to always want to gravitate around the same people, and this is a mistake in home meetings. Keep your eyes open for someone who at the end of the meeting may be left alone. There's nothing worse than being invited somewhere and then being left to ourselves. Number 5, during the meeting, no phones. To look at your phone while you're at a Clubhouse meeting is basically saying this call or person is more important than you. Turn it off or put it on the do not disturb for that 1 hour of your week. You can do it. As you can see, hospitality is both revelational and practical. One thing is for certain, the more hospitable you are, the greater your results will be in your Clubhouse.